My name is Noske, and 4 years ago I built an audience of over 70,000 followers, yet I could barely pay my rent. Today, I run a multi-million-dollar creative business. The difference is I stopped trying to build a following and started trying to build a business. Here's what most creators, and honestly most of you watching this video, don't realize. You're running the wrong race. You could have hundreds of thousands of followers and still be dead fucking broke. You could have all of your content go viral and still struggle to make any money. And you could make amazing content and still start every single month from zero, wondering if you'll have enough at the end of the month to pay your bills. Here's the reality. If your income depends on your next post performing, you don't have leverage or a business. You, my friend, have a job. A content-based job where your income drops like a rock the moment you stop posting. Think about it like this. You're spending hours of your own time publishing content on platforms you do not own. You're more focused on the amount of followers you gain than the amount of money you have in your bank account. And you're more focused on building hype instead of actually working towards financial independence. The truth is, most content creators are just contractors with better branding. All you're doing is dishing out your time, your talent, and your hard work to the highest bidder. You're trapped in this rat race, publishing new content every single day in the hope that you'll stay visible whilst nothing actually changes for you financially. And the hardest part is you're working just as hard as any other business owner, except you have nothing to show for it. And you wanna know why I know all of this? Because I lived it. Between 2017 and 2020, I was that creator. I had the followers, the engagement, the external success that everyone else could see, but behind the scenes, I was completely burnt out. I was running an entire other business on the side as a freelance videographer just so I could eat each month and barely scraping by in the process, praying that someday my audience, my followers, and the content that I was making online would somehow turn into an income. The breaking point for me came in 2020. When after years and years of hard work, I finally decided that it was time to throw my hat in the ring and try and turn this into an actual business. And so after 3 years of blood, sweat, and tears, 70,000 followers gained for a very specific demographic, I decided to create an online course. I invested $12,000 of my hard-earned money that I'd saved up from working my freelance business and a little bit on the side from the Australian government during COVID. I spent 6 months building this thing, and in the end, I had put together what I genuinely thought was the perfect course for my 70,000 followers. I genuinely thought this was my ticket. I had a conversation with a friend of mine a few weeks before my launch where I had genuinely convinced myself from the followers I had, from the work I'd put in, from the pricing that I'd done, from the math I'd done in my own mind, I had genuinely convinced myself that I was gonna make $100,000 with this launch, 160,000 Australian dollars from this launch. And when I told this friend, the pride that I felt, the excitement I felt, the feeling of accomplishment that I got in the thought that that could be a possibility made me think that the previous 3 years, all of that work would finally be worth it. And the result, come launch day, was 20 sales, $5,940 in revenue over the course of the entire period that we sold this program. Meaning that I had made a whopping net profit of negative $6,040 from my one true attempt at monetizing my audience, 6 months of work and $12,000 of my own money invested in this program. It broke me. A complete and utter failure. I had built up such high expectations for this moment that when this happened, I gave up on ever being able to make this work. And so I quit. In August of 2021, after another few months of trying to make this work and trying to recover from my failure, I actually ended up trying to relaunch the course again, spend even more money, and then just bin the whole thing off altogether. But after all that time, in August of 2021, I decided that was it. I started putting together my resume, I started applying for a few jobs, I didn't hear anything back. At the time, the Australian government were paying us to stay at home. I was also making a little bit of money on the side with NFTs, and so I decided that this was a unique opportunity in my life. This is probably the one and only moment where I'd have the opportunity to be genuinely unemployed for a prolonged period of time, and so I used that time to tick off a bucket list goal of mine, which was completing an Ironman triathlon. And it was in that process, working towards that goal, that it finally clicked. See, training for an Ironman or any kind of endurance event, what you start to learn immediately is that you can't go full throttle 100% of the time. Your success or failure in that sport has almost nothing to do with working harder. It's about periodizing your training, building systems that allow you to train more frequently, more often, or over a longer period of time, maintain that without getting injured, and then get fit enough to get to the finish line. And so I started to wonder, What if I ran my business the same way? What if you don't win by working harder? What if you don't win by publishing more content? What if you don't win by putting stuff out there, gaining more followers and hoping it turns into an income? What if you win by building systems that compound? What if you win by working smarter, not harder? What if you win by building something that's actually sustainable, actually compounds and works in your favor? And so I decided after I finished that race that I was gonna give this one last shot. One last shot to make this work, otherwise I would hang it up for good, call it a day, and try something else. But I had 3 conditions. Number 1, I was done sticking to a niche. I'd spent my entire career up until that point fixated on only making one kind of content to the point where I didn't feel like I could be myself, where I felt like I had no place in my own content. I was done doing that. Number 2, I was gonna make fuckloads of money. I was tired of being broke. The most money I'd ever made up until that point was about 70,000 Australian dollars in a year. I was done being broke. I wanted financial independence. And number 3, I was gonna build systems that allow me to actually sustainably do this. I wasn't gonna bleed out of my eyeballs to make content consistently anymore. I was gonna do this in a way that worked with the lifestyle that I wanted to build. Essentially, I was gonna do the exact opposite of what every single person online had ever told me to do. And the result? I hit my first $50,000 month within 6 months of starting again at 25 years old. I hit my first $100,000 month within 12 months of starting again at just 26 years old. I cleared over $300,000 in revenue in those first 12 months between June 2022 and June 2023, meaning that I'd made more in that 12 months than I had in the previous 5 years combined. And I hit my first $1 million year in 2024 at just 27 years old. But here's the key. It wasn't just one thing that was making all the difference. See, the creators that are making the most money, that have real businesses that actually sustain them and help them achieve the goals they want financially, have 4 key things that they include in their strategy. And I call those 4 combined your digital wealth formula. And those 4 are your story, audience trust, business systems, and content that actually sells. And combined, those will build digital wealth. Let me break those down. Your story is what makes you impossible to replicate. This is what you are uniquely positioned to bring to your marketplace, what makes you separate from every other person in your space. Audience trust is what makes people actually buy from you, not just choose to follow you. It's the journey and the relationship you build with people that takes them from viewer of your content to customer in your business. Business systems is what actually generates you income whilst you sleep. It's the stuff that you implement today that will continue to work for you in the future. It's the processes that put cash in your bank account. And content that sells is what actually drives revenue for your business, not just engagement. This is the stuff that you publish with the intention of actually making money and not just inflating your own ego, gaining more followers, likes, and engagement. See, most creators have 1, maybe 2, but the creators doing the best, the creators with real businesses, the creators building real fucking wealth have all 4, 100% of the time. And inside Time to Build, our primary goal is to help our students install all 4 of those in 6 weeks. This isn't about posting more. This is not one of these programs where I'm gonna show up in the first call and tell you to just post until eventually it turns into something. No, this is about building a real business and using content as your driver for that business. We want to build something that works independently of you publishing another piece of content today, something that actually compounds with time, gets bigger year after year. And this system isn't just smoke and mirrors. No, this system works exceptionally well. In fact, in the last 18 months alone, our students have made over 2.69 million in verifiable student wins. That's not assumed revenue or cumulative earnings or us doing some cheeky math with someone telling us they made a $10,000 a month and then multiplying it over however many months we feel like. No, this is literally the numbers that our students submit within the program. We then take that number and add it to the tally. And that tally is $2,693,987.58 as of the 8th of July, 2025. Now, if you want to see the actual live number whenever you're watching this video, it'll be on the page that you're watching this video from. And that tally isn't made up of a few outlier performances. It's not one creator making $1 million and then adding to our tally. No, that tally is made up of dozens of 10K months, 20K months, and we've even had a couple students hit the elusive $100,000 mark, which is insane. I want to tell you a few of those examples. The first up, we had Maya and Eliza. Now these two are menstrual cycle coaches from Australia who before they joined Time to Build were making a whopping $500 a month between the two of them, meaning that they were walking away with $250 Australian each. They took a risk in the program, and after reconfiguring their offer and refining things down from the half a dozen different things they were selling to one central core offer, they hit a record launch of $37,000. And in the 6 months since joining Time to Build, they've made a whopping $112,000. We had Stephen Healy, a wedding photographer who has a particular talent for meta ads, who launched a new program helping wedding photographers use meta ads to scale their own wedding businesses. And he made $101,000 in the very first launch of his new program. And the best part about that story is he has 4,500 followers. We had Anna Hickman, whose story is a personal favorite of mine. She scaled her YouTube channel from 0 to 20,000 subscribers. But not only that, she hit her first 30K month in January, her first 40K month in February, and then hit a record $50,000 month in March, and has averaged $20,000 a month ever since. We had a rally and music producer who just recently hit her first $10,000 month. We had Clark, a sales expert who just launched his very own cohort and hit a record launch of $10,940. We had Nelson, and this one's fucking insane, who's a professional poker player who joined Time to Build just recently in cohort 10. This guy was about as proactive of a student as I've ever seen in running this program, and 2 weeks into joining Time to Build, he launched a brand new coaching program from scratch, and in the first 7 days of launching that brand new program, made $10,500, meaning that in 2 weeks after joining Time to Build, he made $10,500. And the most insane part is he has 2,200 followers. We have Rob, an expert sales funnel builder who launched his new program and made a record-shattering $116,000 in just 25 days. We even had an immigration expert. An immigration expert who helps people immigrate to America make $320,000 last year with his brand new business. His main goal in joining Time to Build when he introduced himself to the community is he wanted to fire his boss and quit his job. He just recently was able to do that. The list goes on and on. Literally dozens of creators across dozens of different niches, all making this system work. So here's the truth. Time to Build works exceptionally well. And it works because we help our students make one key pivotal shift. They stop chasing followers, they stop chasing all the shit that everyone else chases, and start building a real business with repeatable, scalable systems that compound over time. After joining Time to Build, you'll go through a 6-week intensive with me where you and I will build your own creator business system from scratch together. You'll be a part of 20 live training sessions with direct feedback on your specific business. You'll get immediate access to 10 high-impact pre-recorded modules, all aimed at helping you build a personal brand and an online business the right way. You'll have access to a proprietary set of done-for-you tools, systems, and frameworks that you can plug directly into your business immediately. These are the same systems, tools, templates, frameworks that I use for my own $1 million business. You'll have access to our private community with literally hundreds of other creators all on the same journey as you. And you'll have lifetime access to all of it. No recurring fees and no upsells. And on top of all of that, you'll get immediate access to our content vault full of literally $10,000 worth of previous masterclasses, recordings, workshops, guest lessons from the last 10 cohorts combined. This library is literally hours of content from the last 3 years of running Time to Build. But here's the kicker, and the one negative of running a business like this: we can only take 80 people at a time. By the nature of how we do things and the service that we want to provide, we are literally working, myself and my team are literally working one-on-one with you over these 6 weeks in order to help you implement this as we go through it. And so for us to maintain the level of service that we expect of ourselves, we can only really do 80 people. We've tried more, we've tried less, and we've found that our sweet spot is 80, meaning that there is only ever 80 spots available per cohort that we run. And the second part of this negative is we're doing this application only. We want to make sure that if you join the program, if you get the opportunity to make this investment, we truly believe that you have the ability to make this work. We don't want you joining the program unless we can comfortably predict that you're going to make 10 times the amount of money back that you spend on us. And for us to do that confidently, we have to do this by application only. And so to secure your spot, a apply down below. We'll review your application, and if we think you're a good fit for the program, we genuinely believe you have the capability to make this work, implement this system, and succeed, you'll have access when we next open enrollments. Once you've been accepted, spots will be filled by a first come, first served basis. So look, you've got two options. Option number one is keep doing what you've been doing. Keep trying to go viral. Keep praying that your audience will someday turn into an income. Keep doing what I was doing between 2017 and 2020 and just hoping that things will change. And keep starting each month from zero, hoping that at the end of the month you have enough to pay your bills. Or there's option number two, where you make this investment in yourself, in your business, in your future, and you create something that can actually generate predictable income. Something that works regardless of whether the algorithm likes you or not, regardless of whether you publish another piece of content today, and something that actually compounds over time. Because at the end of the day, you don't want more fame. You don't want a bigger audience. You don't want more followers. You want financial independence. You want to build something that can create the freedom and the lifestyle that you actually want. And so if you're ready to start building a real business, if you're ready to take this into your own hands and start building the future you want, I would genuinely encourage you to take this risk. Because I know it's a risk. I know this is a lot of money. I'm not going to downplay the fact that this is a huge investment, and for some of you, probably the biggest investment you've ever made in your business. But I promise, from myself and the rest of the team, we will do everything we can to make this a worthwhile investment. And so if you're ready, I would urge you to take the risk, apply down below, and if you're a good fit for the program, I'll see you on the inside.